Hey, what's up, dudes? Kooblay here, and welcome to, just vlogging. I wanted to try that a little bit, give you guys a chance to kind of, see me fuzzy. See me just kind of chat and talk about myself a little bit. I thought it would be I do this with a faster than light every once in a while, but I find that I get very distracted whilst doing that. So I wanted to take the opportunity to just address you as myself. Anyway, I wanted to talk about something that this is just a subject to discuss. Not necessarily anything that is required or super important. It's a little soapbox moment. I wanted to talk about a little bit of my political economics education in college. That was my major, a combination of political science and economics, political economics. And the idea of this study is to basically apply historical economic principles to real-world situations or, current ones to past ones, and study economic history in a way. The reason why I particularly enjoyed that is because it was all about using data to discover whether or not perceived conceptions were true. Because a lot of conceptions about, health or happiness or taxes are incorrect. A lot of them are correct or correct enough. Freakonomics is a book that does a big study of this. It's the most popular book about it, really. And there's a couple other books out there. I wanted to kind of apply it to the current election. Let's break it down as simple as possible with the current presidential election. Republican, Democrat, right? To just bias out front, am moderate. I am moderate, and the reason I'm moderate is because after studying politics for so long, I really dislike the this is or this is. And I mean, to be honest, in the case of the United States, we tend to always be on the far right of any form of economic principle. This is, if you ever look at London or Paris, or excuse me, the UK or France, they are way more on the left of the scale of how much taxes go to the government and funding and stuff versus, the American system. We're kind of like choosing between the right and a little bit less right. Here's the Democrats, here's the Republicans. It's like, I guess for you guys this is left or a little less left. Anyway, but I wanted to bring this up. I was watching a Kooblay report when they had a gentleman come in who was talking about the Reagan tax cuts. Now let's talk tax cuts. Yes, this is going to get a little sciencey, but I like discussing it. A tax cut, in general, the argument that this Republican was using was when you lower taxes, you increase spending. People spend more money in the economy, they buy more houses, they buy more cars, they invest their money back into their businesses. This is built on a massive assumption that people do that. And I know that sounds like, well, of course, obviously, but this is what I mean. If you are in a shitty economic environment and suddenly someone removes the taxes off of you, if you are a sound thinking individual, you will do a variety of things based upon your rational requirements at the time. Do you need to pay off your house? Yes, you pay off your house. You're paying back a debt. All right, well, that's not spending any more money. Okay, it was really bad. I'm going to save this extra money because it's going to get bad again because the economy always goes up and down. Save for a rainy day. Well, that's also not necessarily spending money. You lose all this extra money and you're like, woo, I go out and party and buy a boat. Cool. That's the person we're going for. But there's all these other ways people act when the money is pulled off. And it's a problem when you have a politician saying, obviously, we'll cut taxes to happen. Number one, what taxes will you cut? Everybody's taxes? Because that's not going to fix it. Because then we just have less funding, period. And they're like, well, we'll cut government programs. And that's what's going to lead us to the Democrat side. Democrats will say, hey, let's put more government programs up that will put money in the right areas to just build the inertia of whatever is going on. After-school programs, unemployment, variety of programs like that. Raise the minimum wage, whatever. So the problem on the Democrat side, when it's like, let's add more programs, is what programs? What programs will work? If we raise minimum wage, all right, maybe there's some evidence that it is going to improve the economic city, scenario, state, whatever. We're talking about like one city or one environment, one county. But it's not going to work for everybody really well. it's going to people are going to have to pay more in certain places, and some people will get fired, and it'll be harder to get hired because now the, hiring is so much higher. You want to make sure that, like, it's a really good person because you can't, and then it's like, but people are going to get fired because, for things that they normally wouldn't because it's just so much more expensive. So it's like, creates a problem. Or there's scientific evidence that'll show that when you increase the lowest wage, that people instantly then spend more money because it's, an extra $5 an hour makes such a big difference for people. Imagine you get $10 an hour and you have rent, and every day it's just, I gotta pay my rent. It's every week. Every month you're like, rent, check. Suddenly you get $5 extra. You're buying health insurance. Like, that's suddenly the thing you do. I mean, I know it's illegal not to have it, but let's just say. Or you buy a car. Suddenly, it's like, you don't have to live month to month anymore. You have options. You can choose the better situation. And when that happens, better health, happier people, well, yeah, then the economy improves because people start spending money immediately because it instantly improves their environment. Versus, on the flip side, or it's going to screw up the, let's say people now have to pay so much extra money that a lot of people start paying under the table. And a lot more illegal stuff goes on because it's like, I won't hire you for 20, but I will hire you for 15 if you don't tell anybody you're working for me. So, it creates all these scenarios and situations that can happen. I go moderate because when the Democrats a lot of times will say, hey, we need to, let's say, create a policy that allows unemployment. Let's say that, right? Well, how does it work? Is it self-reported? Is it, how many parties are consulted? Does the person deserve the money? Do they not deserve the money? Do they pay into a system? Do they not pay into the system? Who's paying into the system? How much are they paying into the system? It's this large, crazy thing, and all of these little variables will affect the whole economic experience. And on top of that, on a countrywide situation, it's really hard to predict what's going to happen. You can have the best economic idea ever that will improve the whole United States, billions of dollars, and it's going to screw some people really hard because they got good at the current system, and then when it changed, got bad. There's an argument that when you change the economic situation, that even if the policy was really bad in the first place, well, all of a sudden, they have new policy that they got to figure out. So it kind of like, if you imagine a pothole when you're driving home on the freeway, you know where that pothole is. You just go around the pothole every day, and everybody knows it slows down the traffic in this one spot every day. You learn to get around it. And that's good. Now, but the weird thing is, like, in the economic scenario, you can't, like, just fill in the pothole, really, like, unless someone creates new technology to fill in the pothole. So it's more like they'd pick up a pothole and they put it somewhere else, right? Let's hope they pull it from a side street or something, where it's not a lot of traffic. Well, that's an intelligent way to fix that pothole, assuming kind of thing. However, now this street has a hole in it, the same size as the pothole. Plus, it took money to move the stuff to that spot. You had to close down the street in order to pull the pull the asphalt out, put it in on the freeway, which you had to close on the freeway to put it in. It took a lot of work and effort. And now you've just moved a problem. But the problem's now over here more fixed, but it's smaller here. However, if suddenly something happens that makes it so that these people are struggling to get through that damn pothole that's new, then it sucks. And economically, you can see the effect. It's kind of a weird system. And also, it's really cultural based, too. And I'm going to go on... I'm pretty much done with my little rant. But the whole point that I was trying to say is when you're watching any of these debates on what to do economically, a smart person would change their economic recommendations depending on what's happening. However, because of the way that the politics work, and currently it's a primaries election, so it's like you're trying to tell all the Republicans you're Republican. You're trying to tell all the Democrats you're Democrat. You're not trying to tell the Democrats that you're a good Republican or the Republicans that you're a good Democrat, quote unquote. You're just trying to focus on your party. People will sound way more polarized during this period. So when someone's like, cut taxes, yeah. and they're on the Republican side, well, they're going to change their mind when they have to compete against a Democrat. Because the Democrat, you know, they already got all the Republicans. These Republicans aren't going to vote for the Democrat. But now they have to convince the Democrats, enough of the Democrats, to vote for them. And that's where this game comes into. And that's where you'll see people start saying their true opinions on what is the correct behavior for a job or for an economic situation. However, they still won't necessarily be right either, because none of these guys are PhDs in economics, studying economic, you know, like changes and things like that. And even if they were, it's really hard to predict, because as a politician, you only have 4 years, right? But it takes like 20 years to fix an economic problem. And then it's good. Then it's good forever. But if every 4 years, you know, it changes, then none of the political changes actually have time to happen. You never have that opportunity to, like, let your lower taxes actually improve the economic scenario, or have all those better programs actually work, because they keep getting cut before people have the chance to respond, or, you know, actually have anything work, or they keep getting added when there's no money, or, you know, it's a problem. I'm not saying that the country is going to crash now, because a lot of economic scenario is built just by, you know, this is kind of the weird thing, is built by the actual companies themselves. The government, kind of like a video game, the government only can set the rules that they think will allow good economy to happen, in the same way a video game can only set the rules to make fun happen. They can't actually make it occur. They can kind of inject it, but it doesn't work unless the rules are right. So the players, yourself, creating new jobs, or, you know, going to school or whatnot, however, is kind of, that's where you get the really successful awesomeness. For example, it's known that if you have more students, more education, your economy improves, because people make cooler shit and they're more educated to do so. If you have better healthcare, the economy improves, because people just live better and they don't have to deal with massive hospital costs, as well as they get checked more often. They're healthier people. These are two things that are known to be great. They're not called increasing human capital. I've heard a couple politicians talking about improving human capital. They never use the phrase. But that's fine, because, you know, they're all trying to win an election. And if you ever want to, like, actually influence politics in any way, you yourself, a couple ways to do it. You write a blog, because your vote really pretty much never counts. Not saying you shouldn't ever vote, but I'm saying, like, there's just millions of billions of people. Really, it's not a lot. However, if you write a blog or vote in your state elections or city-county elections, you can change the actual costs a lot in your life, because there's way less people voting during those times, and they're way more approachable. So if you have an apartment that has rent increasing, because that guy's like, oh, Obama's in the presidency increasing rent, you can go to your county and be like, hey, they increased rent. I think that's a bad idea. And they'll be like, yeah, you know what? We think it's bad too. And they'll change the county law so you can't do that. And it's like, oh, wow, you just fixed your rent problem in a way that was, like, doable for you. Because people, you can just knock on the door, you can call them, like, the county really easily. State's harder, but definitely the county. And it's an interesting scenario. It's a way less boring, county elections and stuff, because it's like, Jonathan from down the street, he knows about the sewer system and the schools. And you're like, really? Like, that's your campaign, sewer and schools? However, that guy actually, you know, it turns out your sewer system is costing all this money, and they can lower taxes now because they changed the system. And the school system has made more people want to live in this environment because the schools are better. So you have more expenses, so it increases the property values, and, you know, that's good for everybody. So it's like, wow, that actually worked and changed my life immediately. So, anyway, soapboxing. If you have any questions about it, hit me up in comments below. I am, like I said, just majored it in college, not a professor at it or anything. Just wanted to soapbox for a bit. Anyway, dudes, if you liked what you saw and you want to see more vloggy vlogs, give me a like, give me a comment. If you really enjoyed, please subscribe. New people, you're wonderful. Thank you for coming by. Check out some of the permadeath stuff and the Dishonored stuff. It's good fun. Or if you saw this at another time, whatever I'm doing right now, that'd be awesome. At the ground, rise to meet your feet. The wind always be at your backs, and the sun shine warmly in your sex face. Or faces, depending on how many of you are there. See you later, dudes. Bye.